Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Teen phenom, singer, and songwriter Dylan Zangwill returns to tell us about his new songs, touring, and more. It turns out that his appearance on America's Got Talent was just the beginning.
Welcome to another episode of Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. Our show is all about sharing the experiences of incredible people. We hope these stories resonate with you and even help you decide to make positive changes in your own life. Although change is never easy, many of our guests serve as a reminder that you are not alone in pursuing your dreams. Today's guest, singer-songwriter Dylan Zangwill, is returning to catch us up on all the events of this past year. Even though the entertainment business is a tough business, Dylan is a testament to how hard work can lead to success. Let's bring him on. Dylan Zangwill, welcome back to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
Yeah, great to be here.
Dylan, it's always so much fun to have a guest come back. So it's been a little more than a year now since you were a guest on my show. So tell me about your experiences in the last year, but do me a favor, start with, I think that you performed maybe at the Philadelphia tree lighting ceremony.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and that was my third year playing the Philadelphia tree lighting festival. But yeah, it's such a great event, and every year, just getting to meet all sorts of the cool performers that come together to put that show on.
And so, how long is that? Is that you just get a spot among many other performers? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, I get to do a couple songs, and everyone gets to do a couple songs or performances.
Excellent. Well, we've spoken about this before, but again, and I'm really attached to your social media. I see when you when new songs come out, when a new record drops, things of that nature. So you really seem to be an old soul. I love hearing you sing some of the classics, but what leads you to really like to not only listen to, but choose to perform that type of genre? I mean, Beatles and country and things like that. What makes you gravitate that way?
Oh, well, that's a tough question. I don't know. I mean, I've always been drawn to that older music, especially with the Beatles. That's where it starts for pretty much everyone. I think it's just easy to connect with the soul and the emotion. I think a lot of the modern music, it gets lost a bit. So yeah, I think just that older style of music was just so much more real.
Yeah, and my wife and I, when we go to some of these concerts with people from the 60s and 70s, people whose songs you cover, and I always say to them, I'm not trying to insult, but I say, I don't think I'm going to be going to a Justin Bieber concert when he's in his 70s, but I'm at these concerts with these old school people, and you hit it on the head, just very emotional, very, you can connect to the lyrics, and that really comes through when you perform that. So I want to delve a little deeper. I really want to drill down on some things because the show's a little bit different than other shows. I really want to get deep into certain things. So, for example, you have your new song, Bittersweet Melody. I want you to walk us through the genesis of, you sit down and do you say, I'm writing a song today? Are you watching TV? Are you playing something? You say, wow, this makes me think of X, Y, and Z. So this is what I want you to do. Imagine this like a little journal. I want to know how the song is born, how it gets completed after you've written it, composed it, and how you then record it, then you produce it, and then you send it out into the stratosphere. Just walk us through that because it's so amazing to me that someone of your age can do that from start to finish.
Yeah, well, when I wrote Bittersweet Melody, it was the day after I saw Lucas Nelson in concert, who's Willie Nelson's son. And, it was... I think of that concert as, a very, life-changing concert for me. And I think that's kind of what spiraled me into, getting more into country music and Waylon and Willie. So the day after I saw that concert, I had a little bit of break between a class at school. And the school I was at the time had these pianos. And I just sat down and just wrote that song. And at the time when I wrote it, I kind of wrote it as a song for Lucas Nelson because I didn't really see myself singing it. And, I kind of put it aside and was like, oh, I'll just call it, song for Lucas Nelson. And, that's it. But you know, a couple weeks later, after I'd wrote the song, there were a couple different lyrics when I originally wrote it. But someone had commented on a post I had made, something along the lines of like, "Oh, it's so great, you know, it's a bittersweet melody." And I remember just mentally writing it down, like bittersweet melody, that's a cool song idea. And you know, so I was playing, you know, the song that I wrote on this piano back here, and yeah, it was just missing something, and I was like, well, how can I work bittersweet melody into this? So I swapped the lines and the verses to say bittersweet melody, and I'm like, that's it, like that's a song. And that's, you know, when I really started, you know, thinking like, yeah, this song's not terrible, you know.
Yep.
You know, after that, I performed it. I mean, I must have played this song 100 times at shows. And eventually, when I started working with John Carter Cash at the Cash Cabin, this was, you know, one of my top choices to record. So, you know, we recorded it. We put a whole like live string orchestra on the track, and you know, mixed it, mastered it, was ready to go. And it was around that time that we recorded it that I got invited to be on American Idol, and that's actually the song that I got to sing in front of the judges, and it got me a golden ticket to Hollywood. So all while after we had filmed American Idol, we're like, well, we got to get this song released. We got to, you know, film a music video. So there's this really awesome place not too far from me called the Warwick Furnace Farm, and we lugged a piano into this old barn that had these like awesome windows on the side of it that like they just shot these big light beams down, and we filmed this really cool video ourselves, and I edited it myself. And then, you know, eventually, you know, the whole American Idol thing was going on, and they ended up just not releasing that first audition that I had. And so, you know, we kind of put it on hold a bit, and you know, took a step back and like, well, what do we need to do to, you know, move forward here? And, you know, a couple months ago, we were just like, we got to start releasing some new music. And so, you know, we released it, we put the music video out, we've got it played on a bunch of radio stations. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much start to finish of that song.
Well, I just love the genesis of it and how it ends up. But you're in good company, because I don't know if you ever heard of Tommy James and the Shondells. Famous for 40 or 50 years. And he's actually going to be a guest in a couple of weeks on my show. But they do a famous song called Crystal Blue Persuasion. So it's interesting because a teenager handed him a poem that was called Crystal Persuasion. And he wanted to make that part of the title, but he thought something was missing, just like you thought something was missing in Bittersweet Melody. So he added in Crystal Blue Persuasion. So it's always amazing how what people find as their muse to write a certain song. But I want to touch on something you said. I'll just use the term magical because I was going to ask you about this. The video I saw, really, really almost haunting, with the way the beams of light came in to that little cabin, for lack of a better term. I mean, and I didn't realize you had to lug the piano in. It looked like the piano was there, you know, forever. But you just walk in, and just the whole visual effect of that is incredible. But now I'm seeing some more growth since the last time we spoke, because how much did Dylan Zangwill have to do with doing the mixing, watching the sound mixing, adding to it, learning from it? What was that experience like?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, being in a studio, there's so much you can learn. And so when we recorded that song, yeah, I mean, I was very heavily involved in the mixing of it, and, you know, getting it just right. There's lots of different tweaks you can make when you're, you know, recording music. But yeah, I'm always very involved with, you know, the actual, you know, song recording itself.
Yeah, it's such a great talent to have, because the more invested you can be in your music, the more you have to do with it, the more it really resonates with who you are as an artist. I want to circle back for something you said. So to be honest, not anymore since I've had the show, but when I was your age and even 20s and 30s, I was a celebrity stalker. So how does somebody, I mean, I was all about celebrity. Now, not so much because I've been lucky to meet so many celebrities and even interview them. But you go to American Idol and everybody knows the show and everybody sees the people and everybody knows. Now you're in the room with those three legends. So what goes through your mind? You seem, I always tell you you're not anywhere near the average teenager, but how do you feel as far as nerves and the intimidation factor when you're in front of people like that?
Well, I think a lot of people definitely do get nervous, especially in front of those judges who are, just such legendary artists and performers. For me personally, I've never really had nerves when I'm performing. Even, when I was on AGT and I was 14, and it was like one of the first big things I've ever done. And I remember my dad being like, "How are you not nervous?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I just, I know what I'm capable of. And, I think it's what I love to do. So it's not like I'm not necessarily nervous that something's going to go wrong." But, I think as far as like the celebrity judges go, I guess, I mean, at the end of the day, they're just people like you and me.
Yep.
And, though they are definitely legendary people, they're still just people. And they're people who, are musicians and singers because they love music just like, we do.
A great philosophy. I remember back when I taught in my other life, I sang in front of 300 or 400 people. I can carry a tune. That's as far as it is. Nothing, of course, like you. But my son has a decent voice, and he was like 5 or 6, and we sang "Proud to Be an American," the Lee Greenwood song. And I was in my 30s, taught, knew the kids. I was more nervous than he was. So I think it's also that innocence when you're with those types of people, when you're in front of people. But you started very young. So when you started to sing, I don't mean singing in the shower or singing while you're walking around in the car. At what point when you started singing, did you, your dad, your mom, did somebody say, "Hey, that's not a normal voice. That's not a normal kid's voice"? And when did we shift gears from singing for pleasure to, "Hey, I can really do this as a career," or "I want to do this as a career"?
Right. Well, I think my parents have kind of always known. I mean, I remember growing up and like all my friends would, they'd hate music class and art class, and like, everyone just wanted to play sports. And like, when you're a kid, you kind of just do whatever your friends do. But, it was definitely like, I was always very drawn to music. I was very drawn to playing the piano and listening to music, so I think my parents always knew I had a passion for it. I don't know if there's necessarily one point where, you kind of realize like, oh, there's something here. Because, I think I was always very committed and always wanted to learn that, I just gradually just kept practicing and figuring out how to improve myself. But, I think probably the biggest thing would be, being on America's Got Talent was definitely a big turning point for me because, it's kind of like, you get seen by so many people all at once. Like in a way, that's kind of like my first big break.
Yeah. It is a game changer. I think I've been more nervous singing in the shower than you were on that stage. I mean, it really was a sight to behold. And then, when you walk out, if people said to me, "Mark, guess the song he's going to sing and win $1 million," I would never have guessed it. I can't recall what it was now, but it was another old school thing, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember what you sang at that audition?
Somebody to Love.
Yeah. So I was not expecting that. And they weren't expecting that either. And the audience wasn't expecting that. So just really incredible. But I remember you went on the keys or maybe an organ even at that point. But how do you decide on whether you'll perform a specific song, particular song on the piano versus the guitar?
Well, I think it's pretty clear, when picking a cover song, like if it's a more rhythmic thing or a more upbeat thing, I'll tend to stick to a guitar. But I mean, I don't know, there's not necessarily a science to it. You just kind of know. Mm-hmm. And granted, there are a couple songs where, maybe I'm playing it one way for a year on the piano and then I try it on guitar and I'm like, oh, that's better. Yeah, I don't know how I'd necessarily pick between it. I think I just kind of know.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm writing songs, that's a bit of a different thing. And there's only been really a handful of songs that I've written that, I've swapped the instruments on. I guess it's more just like what instruments available at the time.
Right. Well, it's also an innate talent that your ear knows which one sounds better. So talking about sounds better and playing, so we're a little bit past halfway through, but you did this for us last time, so I wonder, would you be willing to sing a song for us on today's show?
Absolutely. Yeah, let me. I can sing a song. This is a song that I wrote. It's called "Down to the Bottom."
Down to the bottom?
Yes.
Great. Got it.
Down to the bottom, I'm sinking down in the ocean. I ain't got a notion, but I've been here before. If I had told you I was sorry, would it lessen your worries? My mind might be blurry, but I'm not the one who's wrong. Well, I've seen this before and I'll see it again. I can't help it, I can't win. Love is a drug, but mine is sin. Here I go, Lord, here I go again. People try to tell me you better stop what you're doing, but I ain't got a clue, 'cause I know they spoke of you. So go tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me I don't listen, for I am stuck in prison from the evil things you've done. Well, I've seen this before, now I'll see it again. I can't help it, I can't win. Love is a drug, but mine is sin. Here I go, Lord, here I go again. And I wish it every day that I could know what's right, Lord, and I can only hope for a better sense of life. But I'll die in that ocean as I have before, and well, I can't take no more. Well, I'm done with the war. Well, I've seen this before, now I'll see it again. I can't help it, I can't win. Love is a drug, but mine is sin. Here I go, Lord, here I go again. Well, I've seen this before, now I'll see it again. I can't help it, I can't win. Love is a drug, but mine is sin. Here I go, Lord, here I go again.
Awesome, per usual. Great, great. Thank you so much for that. So, got to tell you, I think there were two Dylans. I don't know if you realize this, but whenever you sing, and I've seen so many of your performances, videos, and things like that on shows. You really go into the zone. So, when you sing, are you all about the words, the message? Because I don't think you perform. I think the performance comes out of you, if that makes sense. It really looks like you're so connected to the music. So where does that come from? Where does that emotionality come from?
Well, to be honest, I really don't know. I mean, I think I just get, so connected with the music that I play, and I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, really, I don't know. I think that's,
Well, is there a difference? Yeah. Is there a difference to you between a song you sing that you wrote versus a song you sing that you did not write?
Well, when I do cover songs, they're not, they're definitely not like covers. They're not like, when you go to see a cover band, I definitely change them up.
Yep.
A lot of times I'll change the instrumentation up, or a lot of the chords up. So I think I definitely make cover songs my own, and I change them to how if I wrote them, they would be.
Well, it leads me to my next question is, how did you first get connected with, is it Luke Nelson? Is that his name?
Lucas Nelson?
Lucas Nelson, yeah.
Well, I think the first time I saw Lucas Nelson was, I was probably around like 8 or 9 years old, and it was at Outlaw Fest that was happening in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I definitely remember his voice sticking with me. It's obviously very similar to Willie Nelson's voice, but it's definitely different, and he just has such an incredible voice. So, I've been kind of, I guess, following him since I was 8 or so. But I've seen him a few times in concert, and, with a few different bands and tours, and he just always blown me away. And after I saw him at that concert I was talking about earlier, I think that's probably when I just really just was like, this guy's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I really started listening to all his music. But I actually got to meet him like a year ago, very briefly, after he had a show in Delaware, I think. We were walking out of the venue, and he just happened to be walking to his tour bus. And I got to talk to him briefly, get a quick picture. So that was really cool.
Wow. That's great that you're so connected that way. And listening to other artists is very important too. When you hear an artist sing a song, do you right away at the performance think in your head, that's great, this is how I would do it, or boy, I'd love to sing that sometime, but when I do, I want to shift it this way? Is it hard for musicians such as yourself and a composer to listen to a music and sometimes not just enjoy the music because there's so many other facets of it that hit you that wouldn't hit my ear?
Definitely when I'm listening to music or seeing a band live, I'm definitely listening to the more technical aspects of it. But I do and I don't, because I also get so just lost in the music when I'm hearing a band live, and I get so absorbed in it. But I really just, I don't know. I come from it both perspectives, as a musician and just as a music lover.
Excellent, because it's just so multifaceted. There's so much more to the music business. People keep forgetting it is a business at the end of the day, as much as you love doing it. So there's so many different facets of it besides just singing and then going off stage and that kind of thing. And I want to talk about connection to fans while we're on this subject. So you seem to be fully engaged with many of your fans, especially on social media. So why is it so important to you to have that relationship with, I'm going to call it your tribe?
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that's always been important to me. I think it's also a thing that is helpful to me. I think one of the coolest things for me is when, I get to meet an artist that I love, or, whatever, they write you a message, or, similar, you're commenting on a post and they just comment back, or whatever, they like your post or whatever it is, that, I think it's just, you'd want people to have that same sort of feeling when they're, commenting or sharing or whatever they're doing. I think it's just important to connect with people, even if it's just a thank you or, whatever it is, or if you're just liking what they're sharing. I think it's important because, at the end of the day, these people are the ones that are helping you out and supporting you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. You can never take them for granted, but it's great that how you engage with them so much. So even though it has been an incredible year for you, another year of growth, in the past 12 months or so, what recent struggles have you had to overcome to move forward, either in songwriting and performing and getting the word out? Because it's all about, my show's all about the story behind the glory. So what struggles have you had to overcome?
Well, one of the biggest, goals for us in the last year was releasing music and getting it onto radio stations, and getting it heard. So that's definitely been something that, we've been learning a lot about and trying to figure out. But, that's probably one of the biggest struggles. We're still trying to figure it out. We're not, I just know how to play music. The rest of it is like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that
Yeah.
is just like so crazy to, try and wrap your head around. But yeah, I mean, definitely getting stuff on radio, which, and, I'm happy to say that like a bunch of radio stations have been playing me, especially the last couple of weeks or so have been really great.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you that, again, it is a business, and not to demean the songwriting or anything, but it's almost as if writing the song, singing the song is the easy part. Then all this other stuff comes because you got to get it out there, you got to get it produced, and it's very difficult because there are so many people in the business. But you knock it out of the park. There's no doubt. So I just want to say to Dylan Zangwill, thank you for coming back on the show and sharing your new stories and new experiences with us. For all of you watching, I hope Dylan's incredible journey has shown you that anything is possible. Remember, you have the power to make positive changes in your own life. We love to hear from you, so stay connected with us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to like us, follow us for the latest episodes and updates and exciting new content. Dylan, thanks again for joining us today.
So thanks for having me.
Great.
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.